Patrick, hit us with some stats, won't you?
I had to put one joke about her being a young adult teenager in there.
Yeah. I felt... I should probably keep this to myself, but I felt really weird when I was like, this chick's kind of sexy.
See, thankfully, I knew who she was because Shiloh's introduced me to a couple of films that she's been in, so I knew she was in her 20s when she did this. I was like, thank God. Especially at the end when she's all whored out.
Yeah.
You're a whore.
Yeah.
She's 14.
She's 14.
I should say I wasn't left wondering who's really getting conned. I figured out this was a con job almost immediately.
Yes,
and
same.
Felt kind of bad because I was like, I don't know if the movie is supposed to be figured out like that because it just kind of changes the whole movie if you just kind of figure what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a better Deadfall.
They actually...
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
They actually originally telegraphed it way more, and I was like, that would have been really bad because there were like little looks between her and Sam Rockwell and stuff like throughout. And
I figured that as soon as Sam Rockwell went to his house, complained that he has a lot of money, but Sam still has to pay car payments, and then called his friend, the psychiatrist. I was like, oh, he's conning him now to get his money.
Yeah. The moment he gave him the number for the psychiatrist, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna fucking con him.
yeah. So you see the psychiatrist like playing chess with the like bowler hat and a pipe and stuff. I was like, yeah. And he just has pills in the back room of his office. Okay, sure.
Which actually, that's believable because
they get samples from drug companies.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're still allowed to now, but back in like that time of the 2000s, dude, they were getting paid by pharmaceutical companies to hand out samples to then write prescriptions to patients. That's why like they started coming down on all the prescriptions. Zoloft.
I also
and all that
thought
stuff.
it could have been a legit psychiatric practice to give them placebo, but maybe not. Maybe it's not ethical to do that. But I
don't think it's ethical.
if you like,
I mean, to check and see, Yeah, we'll get into it. Matchstick Men was released on September 2nd, 2003, had a budget of $62 million and only made $65.6, which is not great for a Ridley Scott film. He had just come off of Gladiator, Hannibal, Blackhawk Down.
I wonder if he blamed millennials back then for his movie failing, like he did with The Last Duel.
Ridley Scott is really hit or miss these days. Like some of his movies are absolute garbage. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
some of them are just so not good, And his return to the Alien franchise, I gotta say, has been just absolutely atrocious. It's just been terrible.
Prometheus.
This was, of course, directed, like we said, Ridley Scott, who has been nominated for 3 Best Director Academy Awards, including Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, and Black Hawk Down, and of course, famously directed Alien and Blade Runner. He kind of had that early start of sci-fi, but he's since kind of, I don't know, he's all over the map as far as what kind of movies he does. Which shows a lot of range. I think he's actually a really great director. It's just, sometimes his movies are just, I feel like he suffers from that kind of Christopher Nolan, I have to make everything more complicated than it needs to be type of thing.
Yes.
This was written, it's based on a book by Eric Garcia, but the screenplay was done by Ted and Nicholas Griffin. Ted Griffin did Ravenous. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. That's a great early 2000s. From Robert Carlyle, he plays a cannibal. And it's all about how Native Americans said that they could gain the power of the person that they ingested, and so he just keeps trying to get more powerful and stronger. And it's kind of loosely based on the same character that they based Cannibal the Musical on, the Matt Stone, Trey Parker college film that they made. But yeah, it's a great movie. And it's got why am I spacing on names today? The guy who played the bad guy in Iron Man 3.
Guy Pearce?
No, yeah, Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, yeah. Guy Pearce is kind of like the guy who He's I don't know why I'm talking so much about Ravenous, but he survived by like drinking the blood of the soldiers that were stacked on top of him. So he got stronger.
I think I've seen some of this movie. I don't think I've seen it all, but that scene pops in my head. I think I came in and saw a little bit, and I remember seeing something along that line.
It's a great film. It's really messed up, but it's great. He also wrote Ocean's 11. And then he worked on The Shield. They only gave him credit for one episode, but I think he like was in the writer's room for a bunch of The Shield, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Mm-hmm. One of those like pre-Breaking Bad shows that almost did it perfect, but they tried to milk it right in the middle and added like 2 unnecessary seasons. But like it was a perfect show for about 3 or 4 seasons, and then the last season it all kind of wraps together. But such a good show. And then Okay.
Sorry, I was just gonna say it's kind of funny. Kind of that show kind of set the tone for TV shows moving forward, especially for FX, because you saw FX really start kind of going into that, like true crime or like that dramatic, unfiltered TV genre, and like Sons of Anarchy and all that. Yeah. And then you're right, like Breaking Bad and a bunch of shows that followed after it.
I think you can draw a line directly from The Shield to Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead and all sorts of different shows that have come up, more gritty.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
Kind of really set the stage for anti-hero television.
Mm-hmm. Then he got into producing. He co-produced The Wolf of Wall Street and then was an executive producer on Up in the Air, which had 5 Oscar nominations. So he's been around, done some pretty good work. It was shot by John Mathiasson, who won a BAFTA for Gladiator. And then he worked on the Joel Schumacher Phantom of the Opera movie, which I have never seen, but it's mostly because I absolutely hate Joel Schumacher films. But it was nominated for an Academy Award, which is kind of crazy. Also shot X-Men First Class, Logan, which Logan is a gorgeous film.
I was just watching that yesterday too.
Yeah. Detective Pikachu, which was shot really well.
It was.
And then he is currently filming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Really?
Shooting it, yeah. So he's got some heat behind him for sure. And then he also shot back in the day the music video for Heart Shaped Box, which is one of the most memorable music videos I've ever seen.
Yeah, how random.
Just can't get away from those cinematographers who did music videos in these movies.
That seems to be a trend.
Like that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of feel like that's a trend. Like that's how a lot of these guys get started in the industry, directing or shooting music videos.
Yeah, probably that or ads.
Yeah, ads, documentaries. I've seen a weird. Correlation, especially in the Michael Bay style universe, of people who shot like Playboy or those types of like those Playboy After Dark specials and
like
stuff.
More produced porn, like not just
like softcore,
just internet porn.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who made that bridge, including Michael Bay. That's where he started. He shot Playboy first.
I was watching this porno the other night, and there's a lot of explosions, and I thought it's like Michael Bay.
There are a lot of explosions and lots of porn.
That there are, yeah.
Thank God this is a PG.
Edited by the great Dodie Dorn, who had an Oscar nomination for Memento. She's worked with Christopher Nolan quite a few times, and she also edited Kingdom of Heaven, which was also Ridley Scott. Year of the Dog, End of Watch, Fury, that Brad Pitt tank movie, and then the new Zack Snyder. It is Zack Snyder, right?
Justice League. Well, it depends. There's 2 versions of Justice League.
Snyder cut.
There's the Joss Whedon one and the Zack Snyder one.
The Zack Snyder version, or maybe it was the Joss. I don't know. She did the original, I think.
Oh, then that would be the Joss Whedon one, I think. Zack Snyder edited the Snyder version.
Okay, so Dodie Dorn did the Joss Whedon version.
I want to give her a lot of prop for taking what seemed to be a mess and salvaging it and putting it together as best as she could.
God, that must have been a thankless, impossible task.
Yeah.
That poor woman. She deserves an Oscar.
Trying to make sense of like I don't know, like a Where's Waldo type of puzzle and like putting it together.
Movie from two wildly different directors.
And then she's like, wait, so you want me to add in this storyline about this family that has nothing to do with what's going on? And Josh Whedon's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, well, fuck me then.
Don't understand, Dodie. Flash has to fall into Wonder Woman's boobs. He has to. It's vital.
He has to.
I need
She's a little
this.
sexist.
I mean, the film needs this.
Wonder Woman's boobs, damn it.
And then, of course, the music was done by the legendary Hans Zimmer, which we've talked a ton about Hans Zimmer. But I just wanted to call it out because it literally just happened the other day. Aside from Will Smith smacking Chris Rock on stage, Hans Zimmer also won his second Oscar for Dune. Well deserved. That was a great score.
I just listened to that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I love when guys like Zimmer win awards. Or score movies like this because you just associate them with like these big blockbuster films, and then they score this like kind of drama comedy.
Well, this one really reminds me of the Weatherman score, which he also did. Very similar in a lot of ways, and tonally, I feel like this movie's pretty similar in a lot of ways.
I was thinking that too as I watched it.
Rotten Tomatoes gave this an 82%, 7.1 out of 10 on 186 reviews. That's a lot of reviews. We usually don't have that many.
Is.
Audience was 74%. Metacritic was 61. Which Metacritic's sometimes all over the map when these scores kind of confusing sometimes. IMDb gave it 7.3 out of 10, which, as we've said, that's actual people, just going to IMDb and rating it. So I feel like that's the most accurate across the board rating. And then the cinema score is a B, which I'm guessing is because of the twist ending, or maybe how telegraphed the twist ending was.
That's my main problem with it. So maybe that could be why it's such a low score for that.
Yeah, or they just feel, I remember I watched like the behind the scenes, and Ridley Scott was worried about duping people with the ending, and I'm like, you really made it pretty obvious the whole way through.
That's how you make an impression, is by duping people. Like Shyamalan made a whole career off of it.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not supposed to root for this terrible person, so it kind of gets what he deserves at the end.
Yeah, but kind of going back to the anti-hero talk.
Yeah.
It's one of those things again where you are kind of rooting for him.
You're rooting for him because he seems like he's making changes, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he's done this to people for years and years, his entire life.
Yeah, which, we'll get to it, but that's kind of what I liked about the ending.
Yeah.
That was one of the saving graces for me, is just his attitude towards the whole situation at the end.
Mm-hmm.